Hey guys, your tribal chief couldn't wait any longer. The manga and the anime are going to be an absolute madness this week. Starting with this chapter where apparently Gojo is dead. Yes, Sukuna actually managed to do it. When in the previous chapter, it seemed like Gojo was about to win, it turns out that Sukuna had an ace up his sleeve. I'm going to read through all the leaks in this chapter and dissect what I think will happen, so spoiler warning going forward from your tribal chief. Gojo talks about hoping that he won't be alone when he dies. Geto says to Gojo, "Who cares?" And Gojo explains that stuff matters to him. He briefly mentions his father and then something about leaving it to Shoko, so it should be fine. I find this really interesting. Maybe the fact that Gojo has been alone inside the prison realm for so long, it made him realize that being the strongest and the king of the mountain isn't all that important. I mean, granted, he learned that lesson well before he got trapped in the prison realm, as the events with Riko and Toji in the Gojo past arc has made him more human than godly. But in chapter 220, Shoko revealed that Gojo doesn't want anyone to be left alone again. So that fear of dying alone, which is one of Yuji's big motivations as he saw his grandfather die alone, is also one of Gojo's fears. Maybe Gojo always wanted to die protecting his friends, or at least be surrounded by them when he dies. Geto then asks how the fight with Sukuna went. Gojo says Sukuna was incredibly strong, and he didn't even go all out during the fight. Gojo admits that he wasn't sure if he would win against Sukuna, even if Sukuna didn't have Megumi's curse technique. This is massive, and I think it shines a different light on Gojo now. Remember when Yuji asked Gojo who would win in a fight between himself and full-powered Sukuna, and Gojo confidently says he would win. Well, he said that straight to Yuji, right? However, Yuji was Sukuna's vessel, but Gojo did not want Yuji to worry if Sukuna did end up eating all of his fingers. He was basically reassuring Yuji that no matter what happens, he will be there to stop Sukuna. And the way he delivers that line with such confidence makes us and Yuji believe that, yeah, Gojo will batter Sukuna no problem, when in reality, he was bullshitting Yuji. The fight was so much closer, literally fine margins between the two. Gojo proceeds to say he gave it his all. He mentions the fight was fun, but that he was also disappointed that he couldn't make Sukuna give his all because he thought he wasn't good enough. He hoped Geto would have been there to motivate him. This is really sad. It just shows that Gojo truly lost a brother in Geto. Maybe trying to create a group of strong sorcerers was also a way for him to try and fill the void of the friendship left by Geto. Gojo wanting to create an elite group of sorcerers that would be beneficial for both the Jujutsu world and to themselves, as they would be friends trying to keep each other motivated, and whenever things get tough, they would have each other's back. Gojo basically wanted to create a mini community of powerful Jujutsu sorcerers. Nanami mentions to Geto that one time about leaving everything to Gojo because he didn't see Jujutsu as a job. Instead, it's something Gojo used to satisfy himself, and that's why he will feel sympathetic in his last moments. Gojo is glad that he died at the hands of someone stronger than him. Is this full confirmation now? Is Sukuna in his current state, and not even with full 20 fingers, the strongest guy in the series? Well, if Gojo seems to think that, then who are we to disagree? Nanami is grossed out by how Gojo is talking like a samurai general. Haibara joins in, saying it was something that everyone noticed. Gojo asks Nanami about his final moments, and Nanami mentions a conversation with Mei. She told him to go north if he was searching for a new side of himself, or go south if he wanted to remain as he was. He chose south and said his final moments weren't so bad thanks to Haibara. Gojo proceeds to say bye to everyone: Geto, Nanami, Haibara, Yaga, Riko, and Kuroi. Going back to the fight, Gojo is bleeding to death. Sukuna begins explaining how Mahoraga adapts to an ability. When Mahoraga receives an attack, it will proceed to adapt to it over time. So when Mahoraga attacked, it was way more powerful than Sukuna. Not only could it hit Gojo's infinity, but it also hit the space itself to cut it off. Sukuna says infinity won't matter when it can cut the world. We then see Gojo's body sliced in half. Sukuna commends Gojo, saying he won't forget about him. After that, Kashimo appears. Now guys, let me remind everyone, Sukuna still didn't use any of his own techniques against Gojo, and Yuji's techniques are still kept a mystery as well. This is the ultimate setup for these two characters. Now, if we go by these leaks and Gojo fully died, then fine, I guess he isn't coming back. However, just to give you Gojo fans some hope, we have seen this before. The leaked panel from this chapter as Gojo is on the floor. We have seen this panel before when Toji stabbed up Gojo in the Gojo past arc, and literally a couple chapters later, he comes back using reverse curse technique. Granted, this was a flashback arc, so we all knew Gojo would come back because he was alive in the current timeline at that point in the story. So he could come back, but now if he's 100% dead, wow guys, we have a story on our hands now guys, because Sukuna's threat level has gone through the roof. He has proved that he is the strongest, and even without using his own techniques. That's why I say the true ultimate showdown is now between him and Yuji. Yuji still has a lot of mystery in terms of his curse technique and domain expansion, which I have made theory videos on and they will be released soon, so stay tuned for those videos. These two characters who have an absolute blood feud going into the fight will make that element of the fight more intriguing and mouth-watering for us fans. Don't get me wrong, Gojo vs Sukuna was the big talking point, but it was never a blood feud, if you know what I mean. Gojo and Sukuna have avoided each other for a majority of the story, apart from literally the beginning when they briefly fought and Sukuna said Gojo will be the first one he kills. In Shibuya, Sukuna only appears after Gojo gets sealed away, when Jogo feeds Yuji a further 10 fingers. The Culling Games arc, they both were away. Sukuna barely made an appearance, so both characters didn't really have much of an interaction, but Yuji and Sukuna absolutely hated each other throughout the whole story. Sukuna in this chapter is saying he won't forget Gojo, meaning that he respects him, and even Gojo admitting that Sukuna is strong and that he's happy he was killed by someone stronger than him shows that he has respect for Sukuna. Both of these characters ended up respecting each other. However, Sukuna and Yuji don't respect each other at all. Sukuna torments Yuji any chance he gets, and Yuji hates Sukuna for the mass murder he has done whilst inside of Yuji's body. So when these two characters eventually fight, it will be a more brutal and gory fight to read through, because both don't want to just beat each other, they want to do as much damage to each other as possible. This is the blood feud of Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on the spoilers below. Stay tuned for more future theory videos, character analysis videos, and overall great Jujutsu Kaisen content on this channel. And like your tribal chief always says, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.